Hi there, I'm Lewis Foster, a journalist up here in the Manx Radio newsroom. Welcome to this edition of Newscast. How much do you know about the role of the emergency services? On Saturday, the 9th of September, the Isle of Man is taking part in 999 Day. It's an initiative that has been run in the UK in recent years as a way of celebrating all emergency services. So ahead of this, I've been speaking to Police Constable Louise Kennaugh and Civil Defence Emergency Planning Officer Jane Kelly about what it takes to be a first responder on the Isle of Man.
999 Day is about celebrating all the emergency services on the island and UK. It started in the UK, and you know what, we should follow it as well. All the emergency service in the Isle of Man work together, they complement each other, and we're there for the community to help each other. It's not just about the police, the fire, the ambulance. There are so many emergency services that work together depending on the event and occasion. I believe it's the first time that we're really pushing it and doing some promotion for it. Do you know what? And it's right, we have a fantastic island and we come together as a community. So actually we should keep it Manx, make it Manx, and show what we have and what we're about.
And Jane Kelly, Civil Defence, why is it important then, do you think?
It's really important to not just celebrate the professional emergency services, but also the volunteer emergency services that we have on the island, that in times of distress and major incidents, we really rely on those volunteers to come forward to assist the other professional emergency services.
As far as police are concerned, what do you think the message needs to be this time around? Why is it important to highlight what the police on the Isle of Man do on a day-to-day basis?
It's really difficult. I mean, we're in a different day and age these days. We've got social media and we've got people that have their opinions, whatever they are, and they're often aired on social media. We, rightly so, we don't comment back because we have to remain impartial. And sometimes we do get bad press. Sometimes it's warranted, but sometimes it's misunderstanding. So what we try and do is educate and explain. We do it in the schools. We speak to young people. We hope that message goes back to the family, and we use the media. So we think it's right to get the right messages back and explain what all those services do, how we help you and what we need.
What do you think are some of the common misconceptions?
Common misconceptions are possibly the numbers of people we have, and that can be in all the emergency services, plus the volunteer ones. I think people sometimes think there is hundreds of us. There really isn't. Sometimes you may only have a few on at any one time. Sometimes we're stretched, and if we have one job going on, we might not be able to get you quickly. We ask for your patience, we try and triage, and we try and do as best as we can. But sometimes there's not many of us. We're spread thinly, but we do as good as we can with what we've got. And sometimes we ask for help from our partner agencies, and like Jane said there, the Civil Defence, I'm not going to name all the other ones, but everyone plays their part. So we have big major incidents, we'll call in people. Jane here, she'll get the teapot on. Teapot 1 it was called in the old days, wasn't it? We always loved it, major incidents, and the catering truck comes out. But you know what? It becomes a real team that work together for the island and the events.
And I think it's fair to say that the police are very visible on the Isle of Man. But as far as civil defence is concerned, do you think there needs to be a push and a bit more understanding?
Yeah, definitely. We've got many roles. We're the Hill Search and Rescue team for the island. We work with the fire service, trained to go up on the hills. We're responsible for opening up rest centres if we had to evacuate areas. We support the emergency services with manpower, so where the police may be tied up with an incident, we'll cover cordons for them. And we also support the emergency services with, as Lou said, with equipment. So it's not just, we do like to feed them, keeps them happy, and it keeps the civil defence happy as well. But we have lots of other equipment that we deploy in support of the emergency services.
Tell us about the makeup of the civil defence, numbers-wise. How many members we've got across the island?
So we have 40 volunteers, and they are on call 365, every day of the year for, Christmas Day, everything. And they turn out at the drop of a hat to support an incident. We're trained first aiders as well, so we do all the safeguarding training, financial governance, everything like that. DBS is all done. So they're not just one thing. They're trained in a lot of things. We rely heavily on employers to let them go, because they do have proper jobs, daytime jobs. So we really appreciate the support we get from the employers as well, to let them go in the middle of the working day.
And being, like you say, on the clock, 24/7, 365 days a year, not many people would want to go for that, I can imagine. So why do you do what you do?
We don't expect everybody to come all the time. We appreciate people have got lives, they've got families, they've got the commitments, they've got work. So they come when they can. So some will finish a shift and come to support us. Some will do a shift with us and then go to work. So they do it because they're dedicated and they want to give something back to the community, and they love doing what they do.
And you personally, what do you get out of being in the civil defence?
Exactly that. It's really great supporting people and looking after people, seeing them in times of crisis and giving them that support that they need to get them through that moment.
And talking about numbers, there was a recent push and some open evenings as well for recruitment into the constabulary. How did they go, and what we're looking like in terms of what needs to happen for recruitment on the island?
I think a lot of it is about promoting what we are and what we do, and the fact that we have to change and flex with the current demands, whatever they may well be. So we're opening it up to people to come and ask us, and that's what we're saying. Ask us. If you want to know about us, come and speak to us. We need people from all walks of life, ages, because that's what complements us as an island. The more difference we have in people, the more we can help the rest of people and work together. Now, Jane sums it up perfectly. I think I set her up and she explains it much nicer. But we all, the emergency services and the island, have the most amazing ability to come together in times of need. So when the wheel comes off and we've got the big issues, everyone plays their part, and that's what makes me do what I do. And hopefully we're trying to sell that to other people. Come and join us. Come and see what the emergency service can do for people.
And I think in any job there are highs and lows. Do you remember any specific incidences throughout your time which have made you think, I'm really glad I've been a part of the Isle of Man Constabulary?
Wow. I've got 25 years behind me, and that's a lot of time. I may be different. Everyone's different, and that's what, again, excites me and people about joining the police. We all have our different motivations for joining. I generally join to do a bit of help, to come back and help the community and work together. I've got a passion for that. I have loved every single day. Sometimes I've not liked it, but you know what? Everything has given me something. And as long as I go home thinking I did something good, then that's all the worthwhile for me. There's so many stories that would stick out. Sometimes I just need to leave them be, because we do see some horrific things. We get dealt with, we get help, we can have counsellors and advice if we need it. But most of the time, you know what, we see really good things. We see people at their worst, and by the police and also other agencies, we can help them get better. That's what I take from it, the good parts.
There are parts of the day that are really quite rewarding.
Absolutely, and that's the best part of it. I go home at the end of the day, I'm not PC Lou anymore, I'm just Lou, and I know I've done something that's made me feel good, regardless of what other people think sometimes.
And as far as civil defence is concerned, in your role as well, highs and lows, any particular moments where you've felt, I could stop this now, but you want to carry on? What are the motivators?
I think we come in to supplement the emergency services. So by the time we sometimes turn up, they've dealt with the initial drama. But what we find with civil defence is we're there for a long time afterwards sometimes. So when the professionals have dealt with what they're doing, they go off. We're still there. So for Laxey, for the flooding in Laxey, we were there for the rest of the week, helping the people of Laxey and Glen Road clear up and supporting them. So it's not, for us, it's a little bit different. We're not dealing with the initial drama and the initial, incident. We're there to support onwards. So our part is really just seeing that things get better for people while we're there.
And what was that like in that week in Laxey? Because that was, 2019 must have been now, and really quite a dramatic effect. And was it quite rewarding to know that you were there on hand to help those people on, specifically Glen Road?
Yeah, it was the 1st of October 2019, and we went down initially just with some equipment, and we ended up there for a long time, really, for the rest of the week, helping. But it was actually seeing that help that we could give people. We were helping them in their properties, pumping out cellars, helping them clear up their properties. Jobs that isn't for the police, isn't for the fire service to do, but that's what we can do. We can help at that level.
And I think weather is one of the instances where the civil defence comes to mind, I'm thinking of extreme snow days that we've had on the island. We had incidences earlier this year as well. Can they be quite challenging days?
Yeah, they can be, because one of our roles there is to get the medical staff to the hospital, or we take carers out to patients in the community. So, even private care staff we've taken out to residents who need that one-to-one care. So it is busy. We try and prioritise who we take. We took one team up to Starvey Road earlier this year. That was quite a long commitment, but it was essential to get that lady the help she needed. So it is, we're in demand for that. But actually, because the snow, with exception, it generally lasts for a day, we sort of deal with the initial response, get people out, and then hopefully by the time they're due to go home, the snow's gone. So we can go home as well.
Coming up to this day then, what do you want people to think about during this week?
I think the message is clear. I mean, I can sometimes think differently as who I am as an officer and who I am as a resident of the Isle of Man. And it's just thinking about how many people there are, whether they're paid or voluntary, that do things to help people in need, whatever that need is. Jane and her team, all the other volunteer things, they're pretty much unsung heroes. And like I say, I get paid for what I do. It's a role I choose. But when the wheel comes off, as I said before, when we put that call into these people, the groups, it all comes together and it's fantastic. And that's what it is. It's about thinking about what we have in the island and what we can do and how we help everyone.
And of course, it's not just about police and civil defence. There's paramedics on the island as well. Oftentimes when we hear about incidences, road traffic collisions, perhaps we hear about people trapped in vehicles who've been helped out by the fire service and handed over to medical staff. So that connection between the emergency service is really vital. And is it strong?
It is. It's wonderful to see, because, as I say, I've been doing this for quite a while, and it still makes me smile that when something comes in, that everything just clicks into place. So I might be called to an accident in a road, and automatically it always feels like they just appear from nowhere. We've got the services working together, and over the years, I think Jane will probably agree, it's got better, it's got tighter, and it's got more fluid, because we all have that responsibility, and it just clicks into place. And you know what? It's pretty impressed to see sometimes, and it really does work.
And when you look at new recruits into the emergency services, do you see a moment where it clicks and they realise this is how it functions, this is how it works, and that perception of what they thought the emergency services were before they started change?
Yeah, quite possibly, because like I say, you're very much in a bubble when you're trained. You're trained down in our recruitment centre and you're taught about it, but it's only when you see it in action, when you see the big accidents we have, for example, at TT Week, or even the most fun that police have, difficult but fun, is the weather. That is so unpredictable, because we down tools whatever we're doing, and then we're just all flying through doing whatever. So when it happens, I think it clicks into place. This is my role, and what does everyone else do? So there must be a moment for young officers to go, wow, this is quite special. Would you echo that on behalf of volunteers at the Civil Defence? Yeah, I think we're all very proud of our own identity. And we've got strong, roots and been established for many years. But when we all come together, we work as a team, and that's really important for us. But certainly with the Civil Defence volunteers, we train each week, and sometimes it's the horriblest of weathers up on the mountain, and they're out doing search exercises in snow and gales. And then when we do it for real, it clicks, and they realise actually that training was worthwhile doing, and this is why they do it, and they get a buzz of it. And that's why when we have recent incidents at Bradder Head, for example, we had people dropping tools to come in and support civil defence, to support the emergency services. One thing I'd like everybody to take away from 999 Day is we don't have loads of people, as Louise said, so really try and make yourself a little bit more resilient in your own home. If you can look after yourself and look after your friends and family, that's a little bit less pressure on the rest of us.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Little Manx Radio newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.